need a fancy introduction. Everyone knows who you are. But anyway, so like balancing between the two, the ideal would be to mix it a little bit.
I guess, also do you guys have like trade and freelance? Like, is that popular?
So it's huge. I'm actually work really closely with this one guy that has a trade company. And if I wasn't doing the things that I'm doing now, I would be like so in on what he is going. His staff works from home, and then they work as much as they want to, and you get paid per the calls you're doing, and you get designated shifts on. It's sort of like a fireman or police officer schedule where they like have like 24-hour shift on and then like a day or two off. And
Right.
man, if I didn't do it, I guess I would want to have been younger to actually do it, because now I'm like, I don't want to like
Trade's a lot
trade
of work.
a young person's game. But if I could, if I was going back and things were different with family and things like that, it would be very intriguing as a young funeral director.
Yes, trade in New York is, especially downstate city, Long Island,
Is
is
it huge?
crazy. It's huge.
Yeah.
Like, they're big businesses.
Is it more so like more people are like electing for trade probably than
It's
just
becoming like,
in-house at this point?
it's almost, yeah, like management, employment, and but this is like years in the making. It's not just,
Yep.
years in
It's
the making,
happening here.
getting employees. So our trades just do removals and embalmings mostly.
Yep.
You can
Yep.
call them up if you want a dressing casket or something.
Right.
But
or if you're short staffed and need a funeral director, whatever.
Yup, something came up. But the thing with trade and that, you get paid per the job. So when you're a full-time funeral director, you're getting paid, when you break it down,
Yeah.
you get
It's like,
that weird
I'm
pull.
doing right. It's yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like
Yeah.
it's not like I always think to myself, no one's really paying me for my time. You're paying me for my experience. Because
Yes.
some things I can do, I come and be done in an hour. Other days it's going to take 8 hours. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're getting paid per the job, it compared to hourly, it really, you're sitting and staring at walls. It's like a management,
Right.
24-hour weird management business.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, like the times when you are super busy. It's like, damn, I just wish I was a trade worker. I'd be making so much more money right now. And that's, I think, what the appeal is for people. And like, that's crazy and not shocking at all that New York is like that. It's happening here in Chicago too, I'm telling you. And I think part of it is not as many funeral directors staffed. There's not as many people that are like becoming active funeral directors, like going to school and becoming licensed. And so I think it just was a matter of time that everyone's sort of pulling from the same pool.
It's almost like a privately owned type of consolidation without even, and it, that way, like when I'm in the office, if I'm too busy, you call trade, you don't have to worry about going out to the hospital, things like that. And then, you said it too, as you get older, man, I'm only 33. I blew out my shoulder.
Yeah, we're the same age. Yeah.
2.5 weeks ago, blew it out. It is not better. It's from like that pulling motion with.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can't keep doing this.
And it's like, that's your livelihood a lot of times too. And so if you get hurt, well, what are you going to do?
That was a big wake up call. I've never really hurt myself at work. Like, and then, I keep doing removals, but it's against my better judgment. It's like, you got to do it. And I think to myself, the older generations where I've seen them blown out their backs so many times, it's like, how did you get through this? I can't see me doing it at 65 years old, moving, younger people.
My dad still does. And I'm like, dude, you put in enough time. You don't have to still be like lifting bodies in the prep room. But, at the same time, it's like, well, someone's got to help me. I can't lift 250 by myself.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so much time. And like my poor dad, his knees are blown out from all the years of work, I'm sure. And his back, he just never says a word. The man doesn't complain about a thing ever. It's unbelievable. I admire him.
That's a bar to set.
I know. I'm like, I'll never get there. I'll never be you. It's like the man is so patient. And I'm just like, this is brutal. I'm getting out of here. I'm done.
Exactly.
I can't help it.
Yep, exactly.
So what's going on with life? I saw you were in a pageant. What was that?
I did. I
That
did
looked
Miss New
fun.
York.
That looked
So
fun.
random.
Yeah,
Um,
why? Give us the rundown. Not why, but like,
no,
why?
I,
Why'd you do it?
it was something I've always wanted to do. Not like
Mm.
wanted to do, was going to go sign up for it, but I always saw the girls and was like, I think I want to do that one day. But
Yeah,
I got old and then I saw it rolled out and I was like, you know what? Let me just apply. And I
yeah.
am like the most, like, I don't say a word. Like, I didn't say anything to anyone. I applied. And then, like, as I went through the process, and then they sent me the invitation. And finally, I was like, I have to choose if I'm going to do it. And
Whoa.
I thought to myself, I could be someone who said I always wanted to do it, had the opportunity to do it, but
You're
I
a
want to say
doer.
I did do it.
Yeah,
And it was really like like an individual test I wanted to do on myself. I thought it was, getting out of working with just funeral directors for a minute,
yeah.
being with like, adults
Nothing
that's
wrong with
not in the
that.
funeral scene,
Yeah.
which was nice. All the girls were just lovely. And then also like public speaking. And everyone's like, you don't need help with public speaking. And I'm like, no, but it's a
It's
lot different.
different though. It is
When you're
different.
standing in front of a crowd of grieving people and you're saying the same things you've said 100 times, it's
Right.
second nature. When you're standing in front of a group of people, you know, I get
I,
nervous.
I I can't believe you do, honestly. Like, not only are you funeral director in front of people, but you're also like behind the camera all the time. So I'm surprised. I get a little bit nervous too, but I feel like I compare myself to other of my friends or family, and it's not even close. Like they hate it, and I'm like, it's not that bad.
Right? I told my friends, I'm like, I'm going to work on my confidence. And they're like, please don't. Please don't.
You don't need any more. No,
And I was
pull
like,
it
no, you don't
back.
understand. Like, I do get so nervous. And like, also now with like social media, like cancel culture, all these things, it's like, you just know, like you're being judged. Everyone
Yeah,
is just so judgy. So it's like, why not go put myself in front of a panel of judges?
yeah. Let's get the
Let's just do it
judging
that
full
way.
throttle.
Let me do it that.
Tell me my flaws. I beg you.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's why
Um,
and you're the same way. I'd say just keep it authentic to who you are as a person, like with that stuff. Because I think people try to like be so delicate and like, you know, just scared of what people are going to say or what they might do. Just be who you are,
that's what
and
it's all about. And you come
otherwise,
to
it's not even
realize
fun then.
it's not. And you come to realize like a minute video, a 2 minute video, you're not getting, you don't know. And like, I'm a very like, don't judge people kind of person. It's more like
Yeah,
learn the lesson. If you see or hear something I do and you don't like, just learn the
for
lesson.
sure,
Don't do that.
for sure. Pocket it. Yeah.
Like everything is beneficial.
No
But
doubt. Whether it's pushing you in the same direction or a different direction, it's still gonna move you somewhere as long as you take it.
yeah,
You have to take other people's lessons and bring it for your own. So what's going on the social media side of things with you nowadays?
it's going. I mean, it's the
Going?
same. It's going good.
You're still full throttle.
Yeah, I feel like I built like a community and like I can't
Yeah.
explain it. Like
Yeah.
the messages, and it's been really helpful for me, like the insight that I get back and the feedback from people, even when it comes to grief or their funeral experiences. And then like someone asks me something, it makes me go learn more, or I hear a story,
Yeah.
it makes me go research more.
Sure.
So like I
Always
have this
learning.
mission with it. It's going and I enjoy it. I've just been so busy that
Yeah.
when you prioritize things, like even though I love TikTok, it falls to like the bottom of the barrel,
Yeah.
like,
No doubt.
when it comes to priorities. Even like I was thinking today, I haven't done a day in the life, but it's like that all takes filming and like my days have been so crazy. I don't have time to do that. Like
Yeah, it's a lot of effort. It really is. Do you like see like I know you what you put into it is what you get out of it, but have you gotten anything like out of it from like a business or personal side of things that you're like, hey, that made my all my efforts a little bit more worthwhile, other than the obvious of I think growing as a person and feedback and sort of documenting
yeah.
your
You know,
life.
I haven't done much with my social media in a sense. Like it's a big account and everything, but like
Yeah.
I haven't tried, so like what I want to do yet. And I think my goal is to write, which I've been working on my writing.
Oh,
So
like
that's,
writing what?
I want to write essentially a memoir of
Okay.
some my stories at work and just kind of paint the picture of my perspective and share my journey a little bit there. And I found like even when it comes to like advertising compared to other influencers, there is something around death and dying. People don't want to touch it. They don't like,
Really?
no one wants to, it's not in line with what like, because it's death and dying. And I see it,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, it is. But like, have you, everyone knows that I think like the TikTok shop is like the hottest thing going. Did you ever consider doing stuff like that? It just seems like,
Like,
no?
it's not that like, I just couldn't see me putting the effort into it, like if I
Yeah.
bought something on it and it was amazing, I've never bought off TikTok shop. I get a lot of
Right.
like my inbox, I have 100 a day. People monetize. But like I don't like the QVC kind of thing on TikTok and like
What's that?
like everyone you scrolling and it's like, look at this headlamp, look at this. And it's like, I'm not here to shop. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
I want
know.
to stay
It's
authentic to
turned into
myself,
that
like
for
anytime,
sure.
like if I'm going to do something, I feel like it has to be fun. I can't be under someone
Yeah.
else's or sell something. I don't know. So like
Fully get
maybe,
whatever.
like there's a
Yeah.
few brands that like I've worked with, but it's because I genuinely just love them. Like,
Right.
and it works out authentically. But other than that, I don't know.
It's the
I
reason
don't know
to
where the
do it.
space is going, or in the meantime,
Yeah.
I'm just like doing me. My main focus is always work. So I haven't made
Yeah.
that like crossover to take anything too seriously with social media,
Yeah. Yeah.
makes
Because
me
it's that fine line for sure of trying to keep it light and fun. And then when you turn and try to make it into a job, I'm sure I'd imagine it wouldn't be as fulfilling,
right.
naturally.
I like the no pressure stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot more fun. What's something crazy that's happened to you at work recently?
Oh my God, today.
Yeah, sure. Today. How about today?
I feel like this is every day. It's like, well, no, what happened
Yeah,
today?
give me one from today.
I dressed and casketed up. We have our prep rooms downstairs. We have the elevator lift, right?
Sure.
So our elevator lift is a nice lift. Don't get me wrong, but it's
Oh,
not.
it's
It's
not
not
from
perfect.
1925?
Yeah, like it's not perfect.
Yeah,
And there's like a space between where the floor breaks and like where the
naturally.
elevator lift, right?
Of course.
And on one side, it's a little
You have to
bigger
pay
too.
off the inspector every year. Yeah, I know the drill.
And there's space between like where the lift goes up and the floor, and it's just enough space to drop the church truck wheel into it.
Oh, so it could slide in.
Oh, so the whole casket could fall off.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah. So I have a very it was a large decedent and a very heavy casket, nice wood. And I go to push it onto the lift, the church truck wheel fell into it. The casket's on the side, I'm there, I'm trying to pick it up. I have a blown out shoulder.
Oh,
I've
no.
never like that was it's been a long time. Everything was fine. I was
It
able
was
to
a good rush.
readjust, but like it was that split, like if I let go, this is
Yeah.
going down. This is not going to be good. When I stopped, and it happened in like 15 seconds, I was
Yeah.
not breathing. I started panting. I was shaking. I started trembling. I was like sweating. Everything flashed before my eyes. Just a couple hours ago. Oh, it's always something. I
It
tell
is
you,
always something.
at work, it's just my favorite. Did I
Yeah,
ever
go ahead. What?
wait, I don't know if the last time we talked, I work with a buddy of mine. He's a Marine, 75 in his 70s.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, retired cop. And he always says, out of everything I've ever seen in my life, the craziest stories have always been the funeral home stories.
I'm sure.
It's like, of course.
Yeah, it only makes sense.
Yep.
It's a treasure trove of good stories. That's why like I'm surprised there's not more books, and you can write this one for me if you want, but like everyone that since you're working on it, everyone that like comes on the podcast, everyone's got like at least one or two stories as long as they've been in the industry for like a few years even. And I feel like I could, or you could do it for me, compile all these stories, and it would be so engaging. It would just be banger after banger of stories of people like that actually happened. Oh my God.
It is. There is a book called Mortuary Confidential. It is old because I read that when I was in college, and
Okay.
there's stories, but like even even like when I tell stories on the internet or with friends and like they're shocked, like I totally understand, but like it's so real. And I think
Yeah.
that's almost the problem. Like when you tell a story about something, people get like so, but it's like, it's just so like this actually happens. Like
Right.
all, there's always something, you know? Um,
Yeah.
I recently had a funeral. We had it was flying, they were flying in and we get the flight schedule. We figure we could do it, you know, within the 24 hours from the flight
Hmm.
landing. Huge mistake. Huge mistake.
That's, yeah, really risky. Yeah.
Flight had a layover.
Hmm.
Then it was like, and this is all behind the scenes. So like, we're not even
Sure.
making
You're
contact.
not involved,
And
right?
there was a layover. By the time we're figuring it out, we're trying to contact the cargo in the other state. They have no tracking number. They're saying that they weren't on the plane. I'm calling the other
Golly.
airport, like the panic. And you have, you know, 7 hours before first visiting.
Right.
Can't find them. We ended up, it worked out. But when I tell you from the point
Well, how
that
did
we pulled up
how
from
did
the
it work out?
airport,
What happened?
they ended up coming in on a flight. We called, we're like there. It was like a rush job off the tarmac essentially. And by
Wow.
the time we got back to the funeral home, we had a half hour before first family walk in. They had to wait like 15 minutes. And within 45 minutes, that decedent came out of the shipping container, dressed, casketed, Cosmo, 45 minutes. And that's,
Woo! Talk
it's
about flying, and you're just
stress.
scooting.
And like, I'm in New
Man.
York. New York City traffic is no joke.
No,
But like at the same time, you know, as a funeral director, like part of my, like, yes, we got it done. It was a crazy story. The
it's all
whole
part
thing
of the
was like
game.
stressful, semi fun in a way. That's funeral director adrenaline. I don't know.
After the fact, right?
Yeah, like you call in one of your pallbearers, like, you got to give me a hand. But then
Yeah,
after the fact too, like I have that always that feeling like in 45 minutes, but like I could have gave it 2 hours. If that flight
right,
didn't get like could it have been better?
right,
Like when you're on that
right,
time crunch, that always sucks too because you only have one chance. So like I always get like
right.
funeral
Back
director
against the
guilt.
whenever Yeah,
Funeral
and
director
you
like
just
whenever
gotta,
I'm busy.
right, and you're like, I could have done this and that, but like when you gotta put your nose down and finish something and do it, there's so much like rushing. I feel that we have to do it. That's not fun.
No,
I used to like it more, and now I don't love it as much.
right. Absolutely. And like even with the rush, like in those stories and stuff, it's like people don't realize like in your head, you're like, you don't understand. This is somebody's child. Like,
Right.
you know, that pressure of just like it's all on you. Like it's
Yep.
been posted in the newspaper. It's on your what like but then you've also like I've learned that sometimes things just don't work out and it is what it is.
Right. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just gotta. I mean, you just gotta do the best you can, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's big on the agenda next? What's the next feat that you're trying to tackle? There's got to be something in line for you.
You know, I can't figure it out just yet. Like I know trying to follow that heart and that authentic line, but one of my biggest things I feel like where my head is at funeral industry wise is in the industry. Like the bigger picture of things.
Okay.
And that's where like I feel like my heart, my desires is like pulling to. Um Even just like when it comes down to like if I go online, I'm trying to research statistics on anything, there's nothing available. You can't find any.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you know, people aren't doing surveys or but
Okay.
you know, my inbox is crazy. Like there's so many like issues in the funeral industry and then like I'm on the board and those are a bunch of issues that you know we keep talking
Right.
about like what we're seeing, lack of employment, schools,
Yep.
national board exam scores, like these are real issues.
Hmm.
I see on TikTok some of us will talk about them and you know granted yes other industries and everything have their problems but our industry has
Sure.
24,000 funeral directors.
Yeah.
That's nothing like the medical field. That is nothing like the education. Like
No, it's
more
not.
people are expected to die.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's gonna happen?
Like what's gonna you know and what's the solutions because it seems that like you have your older generation, you have your family owned, you have your corporate owned, like everyone has their own opinion. It's like what's real and what's not.
Yeah. And what's going to come of all of it in the end? And
Yeah.
I just don't know. And I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot more of those, like we're talking about, outsourced working type of thing. I think that's going to be big. I think um, storefront funeral homes will become more and more big.
So that apparently is like a California thing.
Yeah.
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 That's
It's
crazy.
like that in Europe a lot too, but Europe's very different than here still, but it's more like that. And they kind of have like a lot of cities like have a prep hub sort of where it's like a warehouse, and then each funeral home rents out like a
And
portion of the thing. I'm like, that's
like an
crazy.
embalming cubicle.
Sort of. It's like a common workspace. It's like a WeWork for funeral directors.
Yeah, it's almost like, I think a big problem too is, trying to keep things inexpensive. Um,
Right.
Obviously that's playing a role. In New
Yep.
York, there's always talk of them splitting our licenses. So
Oh.
right now we're duly licensed, you too,
Yep.
right? And
Hmm.
like here, you have to have your license to make a removal. You have to have, like,
Correct.
a funeral director has to be present at the cemetery or crematory. You have to sign it
Correct.
in. So like
Yep.
our license is demanding. And now you talk about wanting to split it and have like a funeral arranger. And I understand that people want to come into this field and not do embalming and not, but I'm still not, I'm not for licensure split. I'm just not.
I think the issue will become more people, like we'll get a lot more people probably coming in to be funeral arrangers, and the shortage will still exist on the other end then. So it's like, who's going to pick up that slack? If everyone that's like contemplating getting into funeral service, and then we're having 75% of people, whatever, I'm just throwing out a number,
Yeah.
are picking the arranger and just not doing a dual, that's even more trouble, I think, that we're going to find ourselves in.
Yeah, and it's like losing it loses the whole luster in a sense, like not luster, I don't know if that's the right word, but like it loses that
Yeah.
luster of what
The
funeral service really is. And it's about, like I think when I work with out of state funeral homes and I'm working with a funeral arranger and we're talking about
Yeah.
the condition of a body, when they
Mhm.
don't know how to answer
They don't
my
have a clue.
questions, and it's
Yeah.
like that's frustrating.
Yeah.
And like I think
You're
about,
supposed to be the expert,
right.
and I think that does, you have to, at the very minimum, understand it. But I think having and knowing what's actually going on behind the scenes is pretty valuable.
And it's to the families. Like
Yeah.
I know that for me at least, I get questions all the time in arrangements asking about like embalming procedures. How are you going to do this? Can we do this? Is this possible? If you don't know all sides, how are you going to answer properly? And that's in that arrangement conference is when those answers and being educational to the family is most important. That's your
Absolutely.
conference.
Yeah. And you give them the perspective and understanding what's going on. So what is it that you would like to do with all of this? So do you want to get more involved in more involved in the board side of things, education side? I don't know.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm involved in my local board, which I love.
Yeah.
Um, I don't like when it comes to board work, like I don't really have the time for it, like
Yeah.
to be a state member. That would be going to Albany. That's a long drive. I'm on the opposite end of Albany. So,
Yeah.
like doing stuff like that, it's like I would love to. And I also like, not that it matters. I just think that I have a different not everyone really cares for me
Yeah.
in the
Which is weird
industry
to me.
with the social media aspect and things. And I
Oh,
think that puts me at a little bit of a disadvantage
they
sometimes.
could eat it.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I found a blog post about me the other day and how
What?
I know it's great. I shouldn't search for these things, but sometimes I
Yeah,
do.
that's on you. You're
Right?
seeking out the
Right?
judgment.
Right? And I saw one and it was just talking about how like we shouldn't talk about these things and they're so sacred. Like what we do is so sacred. And it's like sacred is not secret. And like
Right.
it's just not.
You're confusing the words.
Yeah, like
It is
it can
sacred.
still be done. We can still talk about, a mouth closure openly, funny, sadly, however you want to talk about it. That
Yeah.
doesn't make when you're doing it any less sacred than
No.
taking care of a decedent.
What annoys me about it is when people sit on that platform, like, or that pedestal, like, and say things like that, they are only hurting the public's opinion of what we do behind the scenes, because people are like, okay, then why can't you tell me? Like, a doctor is going to tell me specifically what's going on, this, and that. Why can't you? And I think that's what some of the issue is with the trust. And like, there's nothing but pretty much negative news that comes out of the funeral industry. So it's like those two things paired together. Yeah, no wonder some of the public is like, I don't want to have any service or anything. These funeral directors are out to get me. They're charging all this money for this, and that. And when in reality, if you realize what goes into everything and behind the scenes and how beautiful and hardworking and uh, positive, I guess, towards like a family, like their intention, it'd be a whole different game.
100%. You know?
Yeah. It's annoying.
And another part too is like, and I'm sure you see it, you have your father in the business, you have your older generation funeral directors.
Yeah.
We can't even really get them to, I know plenty of funeral homes that still don't use computers,
Yeah.
they're very,
God.
they're difficult. They don't like change. I get it. But they also miss the part where the whole social media aspect in general about everything and anything, where if you're going to talk about something, which I think this information and the education I share, I think it's important because everybody dies, like
Yeah.
it's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it comes to regulations or anything like that, we don't have public backing. They don't care. They just want the job done.
Yeah.
But people who are interested too, they don't always want to hear things so melodramatic. I know I don't. When I was in class and my professor stood there was like, and then you're going to pick up the loved one. It's like, come on, like
the
we're
people that lay it on thick. I'm like, come on.
We're people. We can say things. This is real. Like if some people like to learn things in a funny way. Some people want to learn things in a song way, in a visual way. 30 seconds can be a lot of information for somebody. And if they retain that, it's important. It shouldn't,
Yeah. I'm with you. I think just that part of things and trying to appeal to more than just what it is. I guess what my thinking behind it is, I know we're doing things out of respect, but wouldn't someone rather just be like talk to like an actual person, and like understand things like as things actually are, and stop putting on fronts. I think we're like, I mentioned this earlier, that like both of us try to maintain some authenticity. And when you lose that, people can pick up on that, I think, when you're not being your true self. And that's when people, they don't trust you. We're very perceptive as humans, most of us.
Yeah, most of us.
Some of us.
Right.
All right, last question for you. What's your next banger of a video? Like, I'm sure you have like a whole notes section of like lists, but
I
no,
don't.
you don't.
I don't.
Wow, I'm
I
surprised by
have
that.
so many ideas, but like when I make
You
my
don't write them
posts,
down.
I make posts, and as they come out, like I probably filmed that an hour ago, just now, or yesterday. I have
Okay.
I have some in my drafts that I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I have,
What?
you know what, you have the same like dark sense of humor.
Sure.
Like sometimes my humor is dark and I'm just like, am I
I love
testing
it.
my dark humor?
I
But
hate it. Yeah, like, so what we'll each answer this question.
okay.
What is a video that you like kind of wanted to do, but you were like, I shouldn't, and you never did? And I have one for me. So if you need a second, I can give it to you. You tell me.
You tell me yours.
Okay. All right. This was my brother that came up with this concept. He was like, hey, we should do something where, like how TikTok live and Instagram lives like is pretty darn huge at this point. And it was like right when it started, like TikTok live was coming out more so. And that what TikTok does, they boost anything new that they have to the platform. And he's like, what if we did like a fundraiser and you had to sleep in a casket for 8 hours? And I'm like, that is hilarious. But
Wait,
I'm like,
that
I'm,
exists.
I'm get no way. Someone did
Yes.
that.
No, it exists. And I think it happens. I'm like almost positive it happens every year at Six Flags in New Jersey. Like you have to stay in a casket for whatever amount of hours. Like
What?
they really. I've never been in a casket. I just want you to know that. Never.
I've popped into
I
two tree in my
know,
life.
and like I think about it sometimes, but I'm just like, no,
Eh.
I don't know. I don't want to get my
Wow.
makeup on the interior.
Because for me, I was like, that's just drawing the line of what am I doing this for? You know, like that's
Yeah.
where I was like, I'm not that. I'm not that.
Yeah.
That's mine.
I would say no, I had one video idea. It's kind of do you remember that song? It was like really get into it. Really get into it. You have no idea.
I don't. I have
Okay,
no
you're
idea
going
what
to
you're
have to
talking
find that audio, patch it into
about.
this podcast, okay?
Okay, perfect. I'm not that good of an editor though.
Really get to it. Really get to it. Really get to it. Bow, fuck it up, get it more. Really get to it. I'm really get to it. Really get to it.
We're ending on that. That's a perfect way to end. Melissa, you're the best. Thank you for joining us. You're always welcome.